Alright, hey, what's up, you guys? Gavin here. Today we're talking about something really cool. They're a really cool band, really interesting band, and very adverse. Very creative. The Mars Volta. If you've heard of them or you like them, leave a comment in the comment section about whatever you like about them. And, yeah. The album we're talking about today is Francis the Mute. Pretty interesting title, in my opinion. They're really loud, and they're one of the many progressive bands out there that just kind of go over the top. Very funky. The first track we're listening to is Cygnus, Vismund Cygnus. And pretty much the album so far like the many albums that I've heard and impressions are, it's usually never the album that I'm talking about isn't the album that I get firsthand. I usually find them off of through other people and through other people's suggestions. Like, I don't remember the songs that I heard, but they weren't off this album. None of these songs I've heard before, but nevertheless, just because I didn't listen to this album doesn't mean I won't like them. Anyway, the first thing off the itinerary is First Impressions. My first impression of this band was that they were really intriguing. That it was not exactly like Dance Gavin Dance, but it was giving me those vibes. Those like punky, funk, rock type things. Math rock band. It was really cool. Very psychedelic. Kind of remind me of 80s rock. Like these other type of bands, like Mars Volta would have been amongst like Aerosmith or trying to think who else amongst Aerosmith that were just, they ended up on Guitar Hero. A lot of those bands that were on Guitar Hero, Mars Volta would have ended up on them. And the first track's really long, by the way. Second thing is the influences. How does dub, ambient, Latin, and jazz fall into their sound? First off, ambience. If you ever listen to ambient music, it usually plays off of the idea that there's music in places that there really isn't. like the music is really soft and like kind of lasts a minute and then trails off, and then you kind of just get like this magical reverb that your mind kind of imagines. That's what ambience kind of does to your ears and your mind when you listen to it. And that's definitely the vibes I get off when I listen to them. It's just a ton of ambience, and such a rock genre is so interesting to me. Dub, I don't know what they meant exactly by dub. When I was reading the Wikipedia, it mentioned dub, but it didn't say dubstep or like dub as in like language or anything, it just said dub. I'm not exactly sure what they meant by that. If they meant dubstep, I'm not really sure how that really fits in to the music, because I don't hear it. I don't hear the dubstep. Now, this song is like 12 or 13 minutes long, so I'm probably going to skip to the next one here, which is The Widow. I definitely hear that Latin. Like, if you've ever heard like Spanish music or Latino music, it's usually like ballad, very ballad-like. And ballad music is cool. Ballad music is always really interesting to me, because it's really passionate, and you don't really get passionate music. Ooh. This definitely reminds me of Aerosmith. Like, if you've ever heard Dream On, it's definitely the vibes I'm getting from this. I keep looking at my hair because I don't know, it's so curly nowadays. Kind of want a haircut. Anyway. So, jazz. Well, a lot of jazz music is really fast-paced and kind of passionate, and I know that they introduced like the bass guitar, but not like regular bass guitar, or like orchestra bass guitar. And there's like a bunch of I remember this one song that had like a trumpet and like a bunch of other music and the other instruments that you don't usually hear in progressive music. Nonetheless, rock music, it was really different to me, so I was kind of impressed by that. I think this song was on something. I think it was in a commercial, because I recognize it. If you know exactly what movie or what commercial it was, leave a comment in the comment section of where it was from, because I would love to know. The album cover is pretty cool too. It's like someone driving on the other side, so it's definitely in Europe. And they have a bag over their head. It's a red bag. It's giving me like 21 Pilots vibes from that alone. And it's ending. Came to an end. Now we're gonna move on to the next one, which is called. It's gonna play after an ad. Alright, so it's got a weird music video. What is this? La Via, so it's something in Spanish. And then some of the songs they do actually sing in Spanish, which is really cool, because I've always been into like music that isn't in our language for some reason. It's kind of like listening to lyrics, but we're not really able to understand it, like not being forced thoughts. I think that was really my big thing with lyrics, was that I felt like I couldn't relate to anything any artist was saying, you know, and that kind of sucked. But I've never, I mean, I've loved people and I've lost people, but I just don't feel that the way as sad as people feel when someone doesn't love them. And I know it's sad and everything, but I think I felt more angry, or I just don't feel that way anymore. So I couldn't understand, I couldn't grasp it as much. And I just didn't feel hate towards anything. The music I was listening to, everything was about hate, or, you know, being sad, or just nothing really positive, you know. And that ultimately why I turned into like EDM music for a while there, because none of the music was like, it had lyrics that I didn't relate to. It was just music that was good and I could listen to it and not feel like it was forced ideas. But yeah, so that brings me back to the I guess international music. It's always great to listen to, because I don't speak the language. I don't know exactly what they're saying. Their ideas are their own, stories are their own. I don't have to know them, and it just feels good. And I can listen to them. If it's a sad song, I don't feel sad, because there's nothing to feel sad about. Does it relax me? Yeah. This is pretty cool. If you want to fight me about it, you can. Leave in the comment about, you know, what I'm doing wrong or why I should. But I just, unless it's positive, it pertains to, you know, like dreams, or dreams coming true, or, you know, people getting what they want or something, or like overcoming something. It just, or maybe like describing stuff, lyrics that describe things. Those are pretty cool. But love and loss lyrics suck. Sorry, just that they're based off of love and loss, it sucks off the bat. This is a really good one. Then I can't really get into love and loss songs all the time. What is it? Songs that talk about love and being in love. Those are the kinds that I probably listen to more, because if I'm in love with someone, like, I want to be able to show them music, and just, you know, these are the type of songs that describe how I feel about you, stuff like that. Anyway, the song's pretty good. But our next question is the most creative band. Now, I don't know if this is the most creative band, because I've heard, I don't know if it's a real band, but I've heard like even fake bands that they're pretty creative. They incorporate a lot of other things that aren't like household items, like the way a shoe taps on the floor. They use that as a sound, or they have this like weird like bar thing that like woo woo woo, and it makes this weird like butt humming sound. Those are the type of things. I haven't come across anything like that in a minute, but I would say this is the most creative band. It's a pretty, amongst the things that they have, they're pretty creative. For being a progressive band, they're pretty creative. Anyway, so band similarities, dissimilarities. Like I said, they remind me a lot of Aerosmith. It's kind of like 80s rock, 70s rock type music, passionate, you know, guitar solos. Even the singer reminds me of Aerosmith. He doesn't go into, well, kind of does. Kind of does those weird like screams that I think Steven Tyler would do. You can kind of say they're kind of like Dance Gavin Dance in the sense that guitar riffs and that they're really fun. That was when I first heard them. That was the first thing that came to mind was kind of like DGD meets Aerosmith type thing. I don't know if there's any bands that would say that they aren't like they made like any bands that come to mind about that they just are really opposite from. They're just so far from. And this last one is indie and progressive rock. Are they really that different? Now I read somewhere that indie and progressive rock are practically the same thing. Now I want to hear y'all's opinions on this completely. Leave a comment what you think about that. The question being, indie and progressive rock, are they really that different? Now, what I was reading was that they are so much the same, that they're just like sad and like, you know, they're longing for something, and I don't know. My first thought was that progressive rock is like, you know, pop rock, not exactly pop rock, but like pop rock, like fun, like higher paced rock. It's not exactly like classic rock, but it's not. What was good? It's not it's got screaming in it, so that's what kind of deviates it from the normal rock. And it's not death rock, and it's not punk rock. It's like this little, like, it takes classic rock, it takes a little bit of punk rock, kind of meshes them together, and then it adds screaming. That's what progressive rock to me sounds like. And indie, I always considered indie like anything in the you make it your own type of genre. Like you take alternative rock and you put trombones in it and you make it soft. Or, you know, just indie to me was always just like original type things or soft. It doesn't really fall into any other any other category. Oh my god, this is a pretty cool song. But when I think of indie, I think of like Lydia Now from Indian Lakes. It's like rock decided to take a break from everybody. You know, progressive rock was like joining the party. Classic rock was like, I'm gonna follow a straight career. Punk was like, I'm gonna get into anarchy. Drops out of school. But progressive rock is like, they finish school, they got a normal job, but they party. They go and party. You know, everybody's at this party. Except for the indie people. Indie is at home watching Netflix. So, I don't know if that statement was actually very accurate, in my opinion. I think there are a lot of dissimilarities between indie and progressive rock. I think that from what that person was talking about, didn't really understand how different progressive and indie can get, and how it was just where they met. I think that's what he was talking about. It was like that where they exactly touch each other. That's what he was listening to. And so he wrapped it up as, oh, this is what it is. And that's not really what it was. It's not that sad. I mean, yeah, in a sense, everybody in the progressive rock genre probably has something that's happened to them and they use that way to express themselves. It's not unheard of for a musician to take what they've been through and turn it into music or something. I just feel like there's a lot more differences than they're giving credit to these genres. Anywho, I'm gonna wrap it up. Oh, yeah. Also, I've got links to tell you about. Links in the description. The Mars Volta album that I was just listening to. It's called Francis the Mute. And pretty much, it's a 5-track album, not that long. The only one that's really that long is the first one. Oh, and the last one, my bad. The last song is a whopping 28 minutes. God. Also, yeah, the other two links. Pitchfork versus Sputnik. Pitchfork is the reviewer that wrongfully described Indian progressive rock as a mashup genre. And Sputnik did a really good job of describing Mars Volta in the way that I would probably describe them. Not exactly word for word. I don't want to get them mixed up. But just in the fact that we both share a great like for the band and think they're actually really talented. Versus Pitchfork, who totally was just like, this band sucks. Everything that, even where these bands come from, suck. So, yeah. If you want to read Pitchfork and see what they said and, send them a wrongfully worded letter, I'll leave a link in the description where you can find that, and Sputnik, where you can tell them how much you agree with them. And also, I give this album a 3 out of 5 stars because I really liked it. Haven't gotten attached to it, haven't listened to it that long, but eventually I feel like I will. Anyways, give this video a big thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.